So, I have finally watched the 2025 Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. So I've also finally been watching all of the videos everyone made about the costumes from 2025 Frankenstein. And so for the first thing, I'm gonna need the historical costuming girlies to remember that men also wear costumes. I've watched like 6 videos at this point. Elizabeth this, Elizabeth that, also Victor maybe exists. Elizabeth. There's like 3, maybe 4 other characters you could have talked about, but we didn't. Also, the other thing that's driving me nuts. Again, I've watched like 5 or 6 videos, mostly talking about how incredibly historically accurate this film was. The costumes, I don't think anyone is claiming the tech is historically accurate. We all know they didn't have LEDs in the 1850s. But of those 6 videos, like 2 of them mentioned that it's really historically accurate to the 1850s, which is not when the book was set. But literally no one has voiced an opinion on why it's set in the 1850s instead of the 1810s, 1800s. Like, that's fine. It's an adaptation and not an especially faithful one. They can set it wherever, but that was a deliberate choice. So why was that the choice that was made? I'm trying not to be really salty about this, but I basically don't have a lot of time for the how historically accurate is this movie thing, because it's like the death of media literacy film criticism. It's interesting to look at whether or not these costumes are historically accurate, right? But that is the start of the conversation. You then have to explain why you think they decided they were going to be historically accurate or not. Okay? That's the hard part, and that's the part that some people, not everyone, some people do a good job, and some people are just like, it's historically accurate, that means it's good. Anyway, I don't know. Why do you think Frankenstein 2025 is set in the 1850s? I have been trying to figure it out. I don't think it's for the war, because there were so many wars in Europe in the 1800s and 1810s. My money was on the technology, because in the novel, Mary Shelley really doesn't explain how the monster gets animated, and if you want the big batteries and the lightning storm and the galvanism, then you kind of need a more expanded understanding of electronics than they had in the 1800s and 1810s, when it was kind of just a toy. But then the technology was still like really fantastical, so I don't know that it's that either. I also really don't buy that it's just so that we can put Elizabeth in big crinolines and bonnets, because genuinely I don't think that film does as much with her as everyone making the costume review videos seems to think it does. Anyway, genuinely interested. Has anyone come up with a theory? Has Del Toro said anywhere why he made this decision? Let me know in the comments. What's the deal there?